Alright guys, it's been such a long time since I've done a drone intro. It's honestly been such a long time since I've done like an outside vlog, especially since I've just been inside of my room like the entire time, just doing like unboxings and, you know, reviews of obviously tech products. But finally, I'm back outside. I told you guys I'm going to be coming out with more vlogs, and finally, we're back here making another vlog. But today is going to be a very special episode since, again, we're going to be talking about gear, especially with the Canon EOS R5, which is my main cam. But also, we're going to be comparing this camera to another camera that a friend of mine recently just got, and we're going to see what's the better camera. But obviously, I got to wait for him to come here first. We're obviously supposed to meet up at 3. Right now, it's probably like, I think, 2:45, so probably like in about 10 to 15 minutes he should be here. So definitely going to wait for him, and then we're going to get into this video. All right, guys. So right now, we're with Brandon.
What's up, guys?
So pretty much for Brandon, he actually recently just got a new camera that's very similar to mine. You guys know that I'm rocking the R5. Brandon has the RP right here. So what are your thoughts on it?
I really like it so far. It's definitely a big step up from the T6i that I had. A lot more expensive, but a lot better quality and a full frame as well. So yeah, I really like it.
Yeah. So for today, we're going to be comparing the R5 and the RP. We're going to be taking some similar photos, different photos, just like see how they are, since we're going to be comparing both the photo and video features between the two, since they're both like pretty much meant for photo. They're both like mirrorless DSLRs, so that's kind of their main priority. So we're definitely going to be testing out photos and just like seeing what other kind of shots we can get, really.
Exactly.
So we're going to get into it.
Perfect.
So we just finished taking the photos for both the R5 and the RP, and what are your thoughts that we kind of took on?
I really like the spot. It was really cool. I was telling Anish, I thought it was crazy how much we have in our area and how just like how pretty it is when a lot of other places don't have all this crazy water and all this stuff like that.
And I guess one thing I haven't done yet is kind of just like introduce Brandon. So like, you know, you want to like get a little bit of
yeah, for sure. So my name's Brandon. I've done a lot of photography over the years. I think I've been doing it for about 5 years. Just off and on and everything. I used to do a lot of landscape photography and got into portrait photography a little bit, but my main focus now has been car photography. So I do everything from like stills, rollers, and everything like that, and I've learned a lot about just different aspects of photography through car photography.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to leave his Instagram in the link down below for you guys to check out, because guys, like, his photography is really, really good. Like, I've seen like a lot of photographers like here in Folsom in the Sacramento area, but especially when I see his photos and like especially like the work that you put into the editing process. Like, I know you definitely like focus on like the little like details here.
Definitely. So I'll focus on a lot of like hue changes. That's one of my biggest changes in my pictures.
We can also talk about the lenses that we were using. So for me, I do use the RF15-35, which is what we're filming on right now.
Yeah, and I have the 24-105, and I think it's the f4.
Yes. Yeah, so this one's definitely, I think, the kit lens that comes with most of the R line of lenses.
Yeah.
So like, what are your thoughts like once you first got this lens?
I love it. So I was originally, I saw that most of them come with the 24-105, and it's the F like 7 or something like that.
Oh yeah. I think it's like the STM lens, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to make sure I got a higher quality lens before high quality camera and everything. But yeah, I love the lens so far because I was stuck on the 50 mil, so I was more backing myself up and going like that instead of zooming in and zooming out to find different like ways that the car will look when you do it, or any picture.
Yeah, because I know that this lens is an f4 lens, while my RF15-35 is an f2.8, and obviously that also makes a huge difference in the price, because I think this lens is $1,000, right?
Yeah, just about $1,000.
Yeah, and this lens is like $2,300.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
A very expensive lens, but I mean the main reason why I bought it. Yeah, the main reason why I bought it is like obviously for vlogging you want like a nice wide angle lens, so definitely at that 15 mil, it's so worth it for me.
Yeah,
so it just makes sense.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah. And also, speaking about between the R5 and the RP, we can talk about the price differences. I know that the RP is, I think you can get for $899, right?
Yeah, so I got it around $899 because Best Buy had like a Black Friday sale on it.
Yeah.
But $899, and then I believe this was $1,000. But yeah, overall it's about $2,000 for all my setup and everything.
Yeah, that's a pretty good price, honestly, like, between both the lens and the camera.
Yeah.
And for the R5, it is, I believe, $3,900, and the lens is $2,300. So overall, it's about like I think $6,300, $6,400.
A steeper difference, but you see a lot of quality when you go in through videos and everything. We were talking about all the differences in the cameras, and it's definitely where the video is. I feel like, like you get a lot of difference in video and quality of the videos and everything like that.
Yeah, the biggest thing when it comes to video is definitely the 4K crop. So I know both the RP and the R have a 1.7 crop into the sensor, while the R5 and like all of the modes, it's full frame, especially especially even all the way up to 8K RAW, which is again super impressive that Canon can do that.
Yeah.
Especially like the ergonomics of it are very similar. I know that the R5 is a little bit beefier than the RP, but again, I think the specs on the cameras are very similar in a way, especially when it comes to the megapixel count, because I know that the RP is a 30.3 megapixel sensor. The R5 is a 45 megapixel sensor. So again, when it comes to photography, it's very similar, especially if you're gonna be taking pictures of like billboards and things that are gonna be like cropped in and stuff. Definitely gonna come out really nice. Oh yeah, I don't think the RP has the what is it, like the touch bar sensor?
No,
like the touch
that was
sensor.
one thing that I was really mad about, that I didn't get a big I didn't get that because I thought that was a super cool feature when they first introduced the EOS R. I thought that was a really cool feature that you could kind of scroll through with it.
Yeah.
Now I don't feel like I need it as much because I have both dials right here, and there's a couple other separate ones. But yeah, I wanted to use that a lot, but oh well.
Yeah, because I remember I got the R for like a month just to test it out, and especially with the touch sensor, I remember I put it for my white balance, since I know like a lot of people were using it for that, so it just made it a bit easier.
Yeah, I could see that.
Before we end off this portion, we can kind of just talk about like who the RP is for, like what kind of people are geared towards it.
So I'd say it's definitely for like photographers more than videographers.
Yeah.
I feel like the R5 is definitely for videographers. And photographers. So you get both in the R5. But yeah, I feel like this can do almost anything you really need it to do. But when you want to take steps up, like you said, to the billboards and stuff like that, you're going to need maybe a bigger lens and a better camera and everything like that. But yeah, I think really this will go a very wide variety of what you need it to do.
Yeah, because we were also talking about the differences between the RP and the R. And honestly, like for photos, they're practically identical. They're both a 30 megapixel sensor. And I mean, even for like 30 megapixels, you can still put it on like billboards and it'll still look good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and definitely like cropping into the photo, it'll still look good for you. So definitely, it's still a really, really good camera. And I know like honestly, like the more months that pass by, the cheaper it gets. So definitely for a full frame camera, it's honestly a really good price, and would highly recommend it for people that like want to slowly get into the mirrorless line of cameras, since it is full frame. So definitely highly recommend that. But for me, as a videographer first, definitely I wanted something that doesn't have that 4K crop, since I wanted to upgrade from my A6000, which was only 1080p. So definitely going to the 4K was definitely
a big step up.
Yeah, it's a big step up. Obviously, big price as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely in that aspect. But I guess for those who I'd recommend the R5, definitely videographers. And I guess when it comes to photography, if you are someone who relies a lot on autofocusing, I think it would be a good option, since this one does have the second version of dual pixel autofocus. So I think it does have a much bigger, kind of just like way how it does its autofocusing compared to the RP, which I know a lot of photographers were talking about. But if you are someone like Brandon who uses manual focus a lot, then honestly the RP, like focusing is just good in itself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And even if you're stepping up from other cameras, like older cameras and stuff, this autofocus will do you just fine. I feel like definitely if you need autofocus for the random things and like videos and stuff like that, I think it's a huge step up for the R5. But I think this autofocus works really well for other things as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is there anything else we missed out, or
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we got it. So I think me and Brandon are gonna get to the editing process. So I'm gonna be giving Brandon my photos to edit, and then he's going to be testing me to see whether or not I can tell the differences. And honestly, for you guys as well, kind of just to see whether or not the RP is a good option for you guys, or the R5.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna slap a couple presets on them, but I'm gonna kind of edit them exactly the same. We're just gonna see the difference and everything, and just see how they really turn out.
Yeah. Alright guys, so it's been a few days since Brandon and I took those photos and videos at Natoma Lake. Sadly, Brandon isn't here with me. We were both going to do like a little Zoom meeting thing where we're both going to review the photos, see which one's which, and kind of just compare, kind of what looks better, things like that. So I decided that I'll be reviewing the photos and videos by myself, but also I can have you guys, the viewers, be kind of like the audience, and also you guys can kind of compare and contrast these two photos. I'll be putting them both on the screen, both from the RP and the R5, which one it is. It's gonna be like an AAB, and you guys are gonna have to decide which one is which. Don't cheat. Seriously, don't cheat. I want you guys to try. Brandon actually edited all of these photos. I didn't really do any editing to him, since obviously he is the photo editing genius. Again, if you guys want to go check out his work, make sure to go check out the link in the description, which is to his Instagram. Again, super talented photographer. I love his photos. I think he does such a great job in the editing process. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna send him my R5 photos, let him edit it with also his RP files, and then we can kind of just see with a very similar edit to see which is which. So we're gonna get into it. All right guys, so let's compare the first photo. So the picture on the right is in fact the RP, while the picture on the left is the R5. And you can clearly tell that the RP's photo looks much better, especially framing wise, especially since it has a little bit of that rule of thirds, especially with that sun just being right in that perfect spot. For me, again, I never really thought about it. I never really cared what was on the screen. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get like a similar photo to Brandon. Like, okay, I see what he's doing. All right, let me get a similar photo. So obviously I didn't really pay too much attention on the framing. So that's kind of one of the big giveaways. But also we can kind of just tell by the sharpness of both of these photos. I mean, just kind of like zooming in and just seeing the detail within it. You can definitely tell that the picture on the left definitely seems to have a lot more detail. It's not fringing as much. There's definitely a lot more fringing, especially with Brandon's photo. There's definitely a lot more of the red and bluish lines kind of around the branches of the tree. All right, let's move on to the next photo. So, picture A is in fact the RP, while picture B is the R5. So definitely, again, it just comes down to framing. You guys can clearly tell who actually cared about framing, while the guy who did not care about framing. I guess I had a little bit of some rule of thirds in there, but again, I feel like center of the photo would be nice. So obviously our main focus was these two rocks here in the middle. That's kind of what we were going for. And again, as I said, the one thing that I do love about these cameras is definitely the color science of both of them. Practically identical, you can't even tell the difference. Obviously, the biggest giveaway that kind of tells these photos apart is definitely as soon as you zoom in into these two rocks right here. You can obviously tell that photo B just looks way more sharper, way more clear. You can actually see some of the nooks and dents in there. All right, so we're gonna have two more photos and then we will call it a day for the photos, and then we're gonna check out the videos. So, picture A is the RP, while picture B is the R5. And you guys may be like, wait, what? But picture A looks way sharper. Isn't that the R5? Well, one, technically someone actually focused. Man, I suck at photos. But yeah, so obviously it kind of proves that, hey, it doesn't matter even if you have a really expensive camera. If you know how to use a cheap camera well, it will do you very, very well. So obviously, again, I don't claim that I'm a good photographer, so that's why I don't think my photos look as great as Brandon's. But yeah, so I feel like that's kind of like the biggest giveaway. So if you guys didn't get that one right, let me know, because I feel like that one's a little tricky, because you guys probably could have said that the autofocus one was definitely the RP, but it's just my mistakes for using a really expensive camera terribly. The final answer is that picture A is indeed the R5, while picture B is the RP. So again, I just wish that Brandon could take both the photos on both the RP and the R5. With the virus going around, we don't really want to touch each other's equipment. So obviously, we weren't able to get exact identical photos. Obviously, you can just already tell that the RP photo looks a lot sharper, purely just because it was actually focused properly, while mine was mainly focused at the ground. I don't know exactly what I was focusing at, but you guys can definitely tell the one biggest difference that the R5 actually kind of prevails in, comparing it over to the RP, is definitely in the dynamic range. You guys can clearly tell into the sky, especially in the top right of the RP's photo. It's definitely kind of blooming out a bit. It's not really doing a nice, fade into the sun. While with the R5, it's definitely being able to pick up a lot of the blue within the sky and able to retain a much better image. As I said, in order to be a good photographer, in order to take great photos, it doesn't matter whether you guys have the most expensive camera or the cheapest camera. As long as you know how to use your camera, you know how to use manual focus. Truly, if you guys know how to of manual focus, you will get really, really nice photos. If you know how to use manual focus, if you guys know the power that lenses can provide you in your photos, and honestly, just, kind of also how to color grade photos and do good color correction. Honestly, that's what's going to make you a good photographer. So it doesn't even matter if you have a DSLR, mirrorless camera, or even a smartphone. Trust me, like the latest iPhone 12, the iPhone 11, both of those cameras take really, really nice photo. And I know that Apple also included like the Apple Pro RAW. So definitely, again, even some of the latest iPhones, you can take some really, really stunning photos and videos. All right, guys, so now we reviewed the footage from both the RP and the R5 in both photo and video. So now, my final thoughts on both of these cameras. So between the RP and the R5, obviously the first biggest thing is definitely the price of them. The RP is the cheapest full-frame camera in the R series lineup from Canon, and again, it is one of the first cameras, especially in the R series from Canon, that came along with the EOS R, while the R5 is the latest and greatest, most expensive full-frame R series camera that again has specs up to 8K RAW, 30 frames per second, 12-bit codec, and obviously you can definitely tell that the difference in both photos and videos of just which one has a higher resolution sensor and just what records at a higher bitrate. But I feel like the biggest thing here is really just to show how much power you can get out of a camera like the Canon RP, and it is one of the biggest reasons why I actually did recommend Brandon to pick up the RP for himself, purely just because Brandon is not really a videographer. He doesn't shoot that many videos. I know he's taken some videos here and there, but it's not really his priority or his specialty, and I know for a fact that photos and pretty much photography in general is his priority, so I knew that the RP would just be a perfect camera for him. It's not crazy expensive. Again, it's only at $899, which I think is a solid deal, especially for a full-frame camera, since a lot of full-frame cameras are pretty darn expensive. They are like $1,000 up, maybe even like $1,500 up. But to get something for less than $1,000, I think is a really, really good deal. And again, for a 30 megapixel sensor, I don't think you can go wrong with that. Now for someone like me, obviously, the reason why I went with the R5 instead of a camera like the RP or even the R is purely just because I am a videographer first. I care more about videos rather than photos. Again, I do like taking photos. When it comes to spending time on it, I don't spend as much time as I do, especially with videos. So in conclusion, I think both of these cameras are really good. Again, if you are a photographer who knows how to use a camera really well, you guys know how to use manual focus, things like that. Even if you are shooting client photos or putting it up on big billboards, I think the RP is going to be a really good camera for you. And also you can save up the extra money that if you maybe were thinking about buying like an R5 or an R6, that extra money you can go towards lenses, which is something I highly recommend you guys to do. However, if you guys are a videographer and you guys are within the Canon realm looking for a good upgrade, 3 cameras from the Canon lineup that I highly recommend is the EOS R, the R6, and obviously the camera that I'm shooting on right now, which is indeed the R5. And again, I said that the EOS R isn't necessarily great for video. To be honest, it is a good camera. Again, people like Peter McKinnon, Matty Apoya, Potato Jet, a lot of those people were using the EOS R because one, you are getting C-Log, you're getting amazing autofocus, and again, it's just a great overall image, especially just the Canon color science and everything like that. Again, the EOS R is really, really good. And again, the R6 is pretty much the R that, kind of just fixed itself with, having that 4K crop. So now you're getting 4K, 4K 60, 1080p at 120. And again, you're getting everything at full frame, which is really, really nice. And for people that want something a little bit more extra, like that 4K 120, or obviously having the ability to shoot a little bit in 8K, obviously then I'd recommend going for the R5. Alright guys, so let me know your guys' thoughts on this video, whether or not you guys liked it or not. And if you guys want me to do more camera comparisons with the R5, comparing it to other cameras, let me know down in the comments below. Again, I feel like I kind of like this whole video comparison between, different cameras and things. I think it's a really cool idea to do. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think about this video. But that is going to do it for us today. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.